What are we talking about? Come on, man. Hello, everybody. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connarton, Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious, although a little moist, a little rainy out, Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and, of course, at mattconnerton.com. And you can go there and find all the ways you can access the show, all the social media links and live links and phone numbers and everything on this Thursday, March 18, 2021. And I am not alone. Jenny is here at the news desk.
Hello.
And you're now more than 24 hours after your first dose of the vaccine.
I've only just started growing my tail.
Has the 5G taken effect yet? You're supposed to be upgraded, or maybe that's after the second shot.
I'm still waiting for the radar to connect to my inner RFID chip.
I think it's after the... I saw... what's his name? Ron... I can't remember his last name now. He was the lead singer. Do you remember the band Little Caesar?
No.
They had one really...
That's a pizza place.
They had one really big hit. No, that's Little Caesars. Little Caesar had one really big hit.
Really?
It was kind of toward the end of it. They did a cover of Chain of Fools.
So wait, their one big hit was somebody else's song?
Ron Young. Yeah, they did a cover of Chain of Fools, and but it was a big hit for them. But I saw them on Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin originally. Or actually, I don't know if she even it was the original one to do it, but I saw them on. They opened some dates on the Kisses Hot in the Shade tour in 1990 into 91. So I saw them live once. But Ron Young, his posts are very funny, and he posted something about he's got his second shot scheduled, and he's hoping it upgrades him to 5G.
Maybe that's when it happens, when I get my second shot.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
wow.
They even gave me the appointment without asking.
Yeah, they just...
Did you notice that? Yeah.
Yeah, they just give you the card.
Yep.
With the next date, which is about 28 days.
Yep.
And same time, which makes it easy. Same time, just the new date. They keep it super simple. And I don't know how other states are doing it, but that's how they're doing it here in New Hampshire. I guess they streamlined it a bit because from what I understand, at one point it was you had to make the second appointment.
Yeah.
But now they just give it to you. Okay.
And you go right back to the exact same location.
Yeah.
So they're not doing they're doing the 2-shot ones there. Pop-up sites are using the one and done, I think.
Yeah.
So like I believe all the people that got vaccinated at the Speedway were Johnson & Johnson vaccines, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing. Massachusetts is just about to cross 1 million fully vaccinated individuals.
Oh, excellent.
That surprised me. I'm glad to hear it. I worry about it. You know, my parents are down there.
Yeah. Well, today in the news, of course, I think Biden is speaking today. He might be speaking now. I'm not sure, but he's going to be speaking about, 100 million doses in Americans, way ahead of schedule. It was supposed to be 100 million doses within 100 days.
I remember you saying that you were super skeptical that they could do that. You were like, I don't know, that sounds like an awfully lofty goal.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. They did it in just a little over half the time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, it is.
That is amazing. I really believe that our state is going to be practically done by summer.
Yeah.
For those that really want it. Those that are waiting, they maybe then that's when they'll do it. I don't know what people are waiting for, though.
Right.
We're doing about 2 million Americans a day. vaccinated. If it was going to cause a mass amounts of death, I think we'd know by now.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a quick jab in my arm. It's a little sore. There's a little localized redness right around where they did the injection, but I feel perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
My appetite's good. Everything's good.
I know for a lot of people, from what I've read, if they do have a more severe reaction where they don't feel well, it's usually after the second shot,
Right, the bigger dose,
and it lasts about a day, and then they're fine. But from what I also understand, if you do have some sort of reaction where you don't feel great, that's actually a good thing.
It's not even you don't feel great, just any type reaction.
Yeah, because it's your body reacting to it like it should and building those antibodies and so forth.
Yep.
So if you have a day where you kind of feel sick, like you're, right after you get the second dose, like you have a cold or you have some flu symptoms.
And that doesn't happen in all cases.
Right,
the vast majority of people don't feel anything.
Right. But if you do have that, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad. Yeah, that's your body fighting.
Yeah.
It's just like when you're treating somebody who has a fever. A lot of times, if the fever is below about 100.3, 100.4, they'll let the fever ride because that's your body's fight. There's no reason to take that down. That's your body's fighting it. It's when fevers get over 100.4 and they get up to 101 that doctors are more inclined to treat that fever because there's usually more symptoms going along with it.
Yeah.
But low-grade fever can sometimes be the right answer.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm not. Get it from your doc.
Right.
Nothing I say should be ever construed as a doctor because I am not one.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just a mommy.
Let's see. Let me mention, of course. So we finally did the. Is it? I still don't know. Is it a pretzel pizza or a pizza pretzel?
I was right. It is a pretzel pizza.
Pretzel pizza. All right, very good.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, we finally got last night the pretzel pizza from the Hop Knot, our wonderful sponsor in the Brady Sullivan right across the street. It is really good.
It would have been terrible if I didn't like it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I was nervous about trying it because I would be so sad with myself if I got something from the Hop Knot and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I was worried it was going to be too salty.
Oh.
And I'm not a fan of salt or pepper on pizza. Some people are, some people, I'm not. And it wasn't at all. It was absolutely delicious. Mm-hmm. And I have never gotten one with the big pieces of meat like that.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you ask for pepperoni, it's just a little, the discs, thin little discs. These were big chunks of, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. And Matt actually let me eat some successfully, more than one piece even.
I was getting nervous because, so we're sitting there with it, and I think I had already, I didn't know if I'd be able to control myself because I think I had already gotten two pieces, because they cut it up kind of like a pizza. I'd already gotten 2 pieces of it in my stomach before you had even had a chance to get to it. I was afraid I was going to lose control and just, you were had to fix something on your computer because we've been watching. I don't watch much television, but and I did post on Facebook about it the other day. We've been watching Mr. Mayor.
I love it.
Ted Danson's new show, which is on NBC, and I love that show. It's very funny. You know what? Oddly, I was surprised. I looked up online just out of curiosity, and a lot of critics are really kind of lukewarm on the show.
I love it.
I do too, and I
love the quirkiness. I love the characters. And as somebody who served in politics, boy, those characters are really true. It's awesome how they exploit the, over exaggerate some of the behaviors, but I thought it was awesome.
It does have a certain kind of humor that isn't going to appeal to everyone, but it's, I don't know if you ever saw the show 30 Rock. But it's kind of, and I only saw that show a couple of times. I know I would have loved it if I'd had a chance to watch it more, but it kind of passed me by because just too busy to get to it. But it's a very similar style of humor and no laugh track. We have this. I mean, it's been probably over the past 10 or 15 years we've seen this new generation of television sitcoms that doesn't have a laugh track, like. The first one I ever watched really consistently like that was.
I've never really given it that much thought on that.
See, people
now that you mention it, I mean, honestly, I'm like, I don't
because it's become a normal thing now. Like we're so at first it was weird, right? When there was a sitcom like Modern Family, that was probably the first sitcom I ever consistently watched that didn't have a laugh track. And I remember in the very beginning finding it a little jarring, but then you just kind of get used to it, to the point where if it had a laugh track, it would be weird. But we're so used to shows, we grew up with where, every sitcom had a laugh track.
Well, no, they had a live audience.
Right.
It wasn't about they had live audiences responding.
Some did, and a lot of shows used a lot of shows used a laugh track,
like All in the Family.
But same idea, same idea that there's laughter.
Well, they're trying to get you to laugh,
right,
by enticing it,
right, trying to tell you when to laugh, really.
True.
But this new generation of sitcoms, like I said, I feel like it's been in the past 10 to 15 years. They kind of proved that you don't need the laugh track, and actually you get more dialogue in without the laugh track, because with the laugh track there's all this pausing, or a live audience there's all this pausing for the laughs.
True.
You can actually
that is true.
You can actually so sitcoms have become more efficient. No laugh track, and the theme songs are really short, the opening credits, because that's been another thing over the last 10 and a half years, or 10 decade or decade and a half is what I was trying to say. I amalgamized the two in my brain.
Again, I'm going to All in the Family.
But but sitcoms used to have long songs, and you get all the opening credits and whatnot, and that opening sequence is really short now, and on pretty much all shows, and so it's more efficient. So you get more show.
That's true.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think we even talked about this on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C on a Friday night recently. But some people long for those days of the, like the Jeffersons. It was fun. Moving on up.
Shows. I did. I loved the Jeffersons.
Well, yes,
and All in the Family.
but to have the long song,
Sanford and Son,
and you sing along to it. I remember not just sitcoms. I remember when I was a kid, the Greatest American Hero with William Catt, and it had the whole.
I watched it with my dad.
Like the song was like 2.5 minutes long, and it's just the opening theme with the credits, and it's like, wow. Even when I was a kid, that seemed a bit much to me. Although I did like the show, But yeah, so we love Mr. Mayor, and I
like it.
I already had 2 slices in me, and you hadn't eaten yet, and I was like, oh no, what do I do?
No.
Now I'm
going to get a rat trap and just stick it near the box.
But to my credit, I had the discipline to wait for you to catch up.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You got down to the last piece and went, are you going to eat that?
Eventually.
Nah.
Yes.
What do you mean eventually? I was barely on my second piece and you inhaled the box.
That's not true.
That is too true.
That's not true.
We got down to the last piece. And
I ate.
You want that?
That's not true.
You gonna want that?
I ate 2.
And I let you have it.
And then I waited for you to catch up.
You ate more than 2.
Yeah, eventually. I'm saying I ate 2 and then waited for you to catch up, and then I ate more.
You ate more than 2. You ate more like 3, and then went back. I was waiting on that 4th one.
No, you're thinking of at the end.
No, what do you mean at the end? It was not that big of a pause between the beginning and the end.
Done. You were done. You put your plate off to the side, and I said, you want the last piece? No, hoping you would say no, that you didn't want the last piece. And no, you said, no, you can have it, and I had it. But I was very good.
No, you were not.
Yes, I was.
You were not. You inhaled, barely getting the sauce off your chin.
I was disciplined.
Sucking it off your beard.
I was considerate.
You then looked at me with puppy dog eyes and went, you're going to have that.
Well,
you want that?
That I'll acknowledge. That is
which,
my...
Which, of course, I let you have.
That is...
How many pieces did I eat?
But that was after you put your plate away. You only ate 2 of that whole thing?
I only ate 2.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. 2 square pieces, not even a rounded one. 2 square pieces.
I don't think you ate 2.
Yes.
I think you ate 3.
Just 2.
I think you ate 3.
There was only 2 pieces of crust on my plate. 2.
Oh, yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
Because you don't eat
and who ate my crust?
You don't eat... Well, I ate your crust.
Yes, exactly. And how many pieces of crust did you eat?
Well, there was 2.
Aha!
How could you have only eaten 2?
Because you inhaled the pizza.
Well, it was so good, and I suggest everyone get it. The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan right across the street.
Owe me an outing.
An outing?
Yeah. Oh, outside food. Food I didn't cook.
Why? We just did that last night.
No, I did that last night.
Well,
you inhaled it. Now it's your turn.
Oh. Yeah.
I think you should get me a whole one all to myself.
That's crazy talk. My goodness. But it is Thursday.
It is
so
really
it's,
good, though. It really was. It was really, really good.
It's trivia night at the Hop Knot.
And you better make a reservation
Yes.
because they have been packed. It's been insane. Their Thursday nights are rolling.
Yeah.
The new trivia jock they have is awesome.
Yeah.
And everybody's getting into it. So they've actually had instances of having to turn a person away.
Yes.
Or a few people because they didn't have reservations. So yeah. Call over there, make a reservation today. I should look up the number. Because
it is the COVID era, so they're being very careful about, obviously.
And there's capacity.
Yeah.
And such.
Obviously, once the outdoor dining resumes and they're able to move trivia back outside, it will open things up a bit. But, the Hop Knot is very committed to doing things safely. So the staff is masked at all times, even out back in the kitchen. The tables are spread apart, and there is, of course, a limit on how many people can be in there at once. To keep people safe, and they clean very diligently and whatnot. It's one of the many reasons why we're honored and proud to have them as a sponsor, but they're very committed to keeping things safe during COVID-19. And, we don't hang out in there until we're fully vaccinated. But once things move back outside, because it is spring, it's basically spring.
Can't wait for outside.
Yeah.
I love sitting on the patio out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I paint sometimes out there.
Yes.
Which they let me. By the way, if you do want to get in on trivia night today, give them a call at 603-232-3731. 603-232-3731. Make your reservation for tonight.
Yes.
And see what kind of a prize you might win.
Yes.
There's always prizes, but I don't know what tonight's is. You have to go over there and find out.
Right.
Yep.
By the way, Gonzo was supposed to be Skyping in at 4:30 but apparently he will not have his computer with him or something, so he will not be joining us today after all. So.
How do you do to you too, bossa?
No, Gonzo.
See how you are.
No, Gonzo.
A couple hours ago, I'll be there. Here we are. Mm-hmm. Where is he?
Well, he didn't say he'd be here, but he said he was going to Skype in.
He said he would be available here.
Right.
He said he was going to Skype in. I mean, that was just a very short period of time ago.
Yes. Well,
So he let us on.
Well, he did. Not intentionally.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
It's like showing up to go out with drinks for somebody, and then you go, and they don't show up, and you just get drinks for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the way he is.
I guess.
He stood us up.
I guess.
Yep.
Scott Robinson is asking, will there be an entertainment report? No. I heard from EZG, Eric Gagnon, was it yesterday or the day before? He said he's not going to be able to do one this week. He is very much not feeling well. So,
feel better, buddy.
Unfortunately, yes.
We love you.
We do. We love EZG.
Rest, get better.
But if you'd like to call, you can. 603-250-6007 is the numbre. 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. Let's see. And I also... we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. It's a little quieter in there today, or at least so far. Brian Mackey, all the way from Idaho, joins us.
What you wish for.
Also, Tony D is in the chat. Tony says, "Is this the Opie and Anthony show?"
Huh?
And he says, "Another day of ham hands." But what if you had...
I still haven't had my corned beef.
What if you had Slim Jim fingers?
Ooh, I like Slim Jim.
Well, I do too.
I like original flavor Slim Jim.
I wouldn't want Slim Jim fingers for the same reason I would not want turkey hands, because I would be tempted to eat my hands.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
That's just nasty.
I agree. That's why I don't want. That's why I don't want that. You're in the chat. You said shalom. Stephen Light says, "Hi guys, I love this opening." Yeah, we opened with Miriam Banish was asking too. So that song that I played, "Don't Blame Us," Russian agent apologizes for not getting Trump reelected. That is YouTuber Bruce W. Nelson. I play a lot of his stuff on the show.
Well done, my friend.
And the other song I played about the culture war. That was, let me get, I forget her name now. I play her stuff sometimes too, but her name escapes me. because she has there's a couple different people I played during the opening sometimes that have similar names. It's not Lori Lerner. Who was the other one? Oh, Lauren Mayer. Lauren Mayer comedy on YouTube. So, yeah, those are a lot of fun. So Stephen Light enjoyed that. Wayne Noel is in the chat all the way from Michigan. Yep, there's Miriam. She says, who sings this? Voice is familiar to me. Tom Blanchard is in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Tom. Tom says, it sounds like the guy who sings The Grinch. He does have that deep voice, you're right. Mike Pelopita is in the chat room. Mike says, good afternoon, everyone. Mike, of course, from another one of our wonderful sponsors here at WMNH, Queen City Cabinetry. Mike's a big supporter of the station and all the shows here. Hello. Scott Robinson says, good afternoon, Matt. Did I miss the entertainment report? No. Unless I hear otherwise, there shall be no entertainment report this week, unfortunately.
We shall all be bored.
Eric Street says, happy half birthday to Peter White. Why is it a half birthday? Why is it you don't know either? Why is it a half birthday, Eric Street? I'm confused.
I don't get that.
Let's see. Scott Robinson also says, we need a John Hopwood visit with evil John Hopwood. Yes, you can tell the difference, by the way, because when he's evil John Hopwood, he has facial hair.
Oh.
Yes. But,
see, I was trying to figure out how you always seem to get it. Like, I'm still looking. I'm not sure. And you're all about it. You know, yep, that's evil Hopwood.
I see the goatee, and I know that's evil John Hopwood, yes. But we love John Hopwood. I think John Hopwood is he in New Mexico now, or is he here? Sure. I don't know.
I thought he was here.
We haven't had him in the studio because we're currently not having in-studio guests outside of the household or the station. So, you know, so... It's just Jenny and
Hang in there.
And Christian Lacoste, because he lives with us now, and occasionally we'll have, someone from one of the other shows might pop in early, but that's it. We're keeping a very tight bubble for now until Jenny and I have both been fully vaccinated, and at that point we will reassess and reevaluate and chart our way forward. So hopefully, in a couple of months, we will be able to have what would be really interesting would be to have both John Hopwood and evil John Hopwood here at the same time. Now, I'm not sure if that's dangerous somehow, if it affects the space-time continuum.
I think you're going to have to call, the EPA and see if it's safe to mix those two things.
Yes.
That might not be
That would be fascinating. I'd like to see them fight, like Lazarus at the end of that.
Stop it with the fighting.
At the end of that Star Trek episode.
What's wrong with you?
It'd be great.
Fighting.
They would just have to fight They would just have to fight for eternity.
Kumbaya. No.
Scott said,
we have peace.
Scott said, Jenny, you're from Mass? I couldn't tell. Abigail,
born in Boston.
Abigail Jem says, good afternoon. Hello, Abigail. Eric says, I've been binge watching Modern Family, currently on season 6. I don't remember how far into that show I got. I remember years ago, I started watching it. I never saw it on network television. I saw it on the USA Network, and I would watch the reruns of it. And I don't remember. I stopped watching it. They did a special episode of Modern Family where they all took a trip together to Australia. And it was the first Modern Family episode I had seen where I thought, oops, it just suddenly stopped being funny. And
really?
I never really went back to it.
I never got into the show at all, actually.
Yeah, it's a great show. And from what I understand, it did rebound. It had that season that was kind of weak overall, and then it rebounded and it got really good again. But I never quite went back to it. Let's see. Scott Robinson says, All in the Family or the Jeffersons would not be around today. They would be cancel cultured. Yeah, you couldn't do, especially All in the Family, you couldn't do that show today.
You couldn't do any of them.
I think it's the greatest sitcom in the history of television, personally.
I loved All in the Family.
Yes.
I really did. You'll love to hate Archie Bunker.
Right.
But they did actually touch on really serious topics.
Yes.
But they did it in such a way that it was more comfortable to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
They definitely did touch on a lot of racial issues.
Oh, absolutely. Scott Robinson says there's nothing better than pizza. He's asking how much is the Do you remember how much is the pretzel, the pizza pretzel?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm a good tipper, so
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Rocky Uber says, I think Jenny is trying to pizza shame you, Matt. Yes. No pizza shaming.
Hey, no, I'm not. Now, wait a minute, mister. It's not shaming.
I feel
you
like
made yourself a picky.
that's,
You had big eyes.
That's clearly pizza shaming.
You didn't share well.
That's
not shaming. That's calling you out.
No.
You scoffed it down, waited till the last piece, and went, can I have it?
Eric Street says, doesn't half birthday mean 6 months down and 6 months to go for the next real birthday?
Huh?
That's what I would guess.
Is that kind of like having a first and second breakfast?
No, halfway between birthdays. Oh.
So that's like first breakfast and second lunch?
Yes, I guess. Gonzo is in the chat and says, happy half birthday, Peter White. Can we get a foghorn? Oh, you sure can.
What are you doing in the chat room there, buddy? You're supposed to Skype.
I know, right?
Let me down.
Mm-hmm.
See how you are?
No.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So, hello to everybody in the chat room. If you'd like to call us, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Oh, hello to Mana Nurasaman. I don't know if I'm saying that
what are you
correctly.
doing over there?
In the chat.
You sound like you're mutilating people's names.
I am. I definitely
Stop
am.
that.
It's a little quieter in there today. I did watch, by the way, Tony D was supposed to, wasn't he going to post something? He called yesterday and said he was going to be posting something about Tom Gully and that whole thing.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
I did
now
watch
that you mention it.
Jesse P.S.'s show, Pod Awful. I did have a chance today to, I didn't get too far into it. I watched some on his Facebook page because he's been deplatformed from YouTube. You know, the whole Tom Gully thing. It's interesting stuff. I wish Tom, I'll just say this, I wish Tom would embrace it and just lean into it because it's promotion for his show.
But I also think that I wish that they would be a little bit smarter about their pranks. You know, like with some of the stuff that they say is just, it's so bad you can't
certain things. Yeah.
It takes all the fun away from it. I mean, I love laughing. I love having fun with something.
Yeah.
But you take all the fun away from it when you make it creepy.
Well, the thing is, when you know, if you say something we can't let out on the air and I have to hit the dump button, then, you know, everybody listening during their afternoon commute don't hear it. But but I do wish Tom would. You know, I mean, it's the same thing like when Chris James first started calling the show and trolling us. You know, I just rolled with it because I like that kind of stuff. And
well, yeah, but you're a cat and you like to play with your mice, so there's that. That's kind of the idea of where this went for us. But people need to learn how to play with their toys a little better. That's all.
I think it's all kind of fascinating, and my whole thing is like, and I don't mind.
It's interesting to look at it from an outsider and see how you guys are.
Well, and if somebody wants to pick on me, you know, like my thing is, you know, I take the show seriously and I take the issues we discuss seriously, but I've always been pretty good about not taking myself too seriously. So if somebody wants to pick on me or whatever, hey, thanks for the publicity.
Unless it's pizza, then you get all serious about it.
That's true. Tom Blanchard says, the pizza guy asked me, do you want that cut in 6 or 8 slices? Oh, you better make it 6 because I can't eat 8.
That's right. You explained Maddie in one little paragraph or a sentence.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Oh, so another thing too, Scott Robinson says, don't forget about the state rep elect. Yeah. Well, we don't hear from Barry anymore. But what? Why is that funny? But I did want.
I can't take you anywhere.
I did want to. Well, I drove, so it's fine.
There's that. Yeah.
I did want to mention too. I just briefly on something that came up yesterday, the whole Free Talk Live thing. You know, when Ridley called, I was trying to figure out what happens when they're not live on the air. So for those who don't know, Free Talk Live, they're a nationally syndicated show. I think they're on over 100 stations. They broadcast out of Keene, but their studio was raided by the feds, and Ian Freeman and others taken to jail. Nobody, formerly known as Rich Paul. So I was trying to figure out, so what happens to their show? They're like I said, they're on all these stations. What happens when they don't or can't go live? And I just looked, like right before we came on the air, I remembered, and I'm looking, and I went to freetalklive.com and I looked at archives, and there's no archive for the last 2 days. So for both the 16th and the 17th, there is no archive of the show. So I assume they didn't go live.
So they must, other places must be running different shows.
Yeah, they must
switching things up.
Yeah, they must just be running something else.
Well, I guess that means they're down for certain for now.
Well, I don't know.
You did say that things were pretty messy down there.
What do you mean, at their studio?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's hundreds of people that go in and out of there, and I'm like, why?
That sounds really weird. That part's really weird.
Well, it also doesn't sound very good during COVID.
No, exactly, right?
Shouldn't
Ew,
have. But
like
they're
creating your own petri dish.
But they probably. I mean, I'm sure a lot of, knowing that crowd. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that most of them are probably like, "Whoa, forget about
it's not real.
Forget about COVID. What about my freedom and liberty?
It's a product of the global elite."
I don't know if they. I don't know if a lot of them buy into the conspiracy theory part.
They do.
But well, some of them might. But I think a lot of them are just like, oh no,
fantasies.
No, it's real. But my freedom and liberty means I don't have to care about 500,000 dead people. What do I care? It's my freedom.
They live in this fantasy world where the world is perfect and nobody ever does anything wrong to somebody else.
Right.
And you're walking around in your own little bubble,
right?
So you can't affect anybody else.
Unless the government makes you do something bad by making it illegal, and then you'll be compelled to do bad things because the government says it's bad. I mean, that's like the whole thing, right?
Why should I have to pay for the roads when I don't need it until I need it?
Yeah. I
should only have to pay for it when I use it.
Yeah.
Really? How does that work?
So we don't know. You know what I haven't looked at is. I'm curious. I'm just going to take a quick look, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Mike Doyle has raised some stuff with his emails that we haven't gotten to yet. But I just want to look quickly at the...
I had hope that after the destruction on the 6th and everything, that he might possibly start to wonder if that's a good place to stay in Trumpland. But apparently...
well.
Yeah, no. Doesn't matter. Whatever he does, doesn't matter.
Can't, once you're... Well, some people pulled themselves out of the cult, like our friend Tom Blanchard. He was pretty disgusted with what he saw out of the election.
I have a ton of respect for somebody that goes, that's what did it for me.
Yeah.
But you keep sitting back and saying all this stuff is good. How? How are you good with that?
I don't see...
How is a man good with his daughter listening to the President of the United States talk about grabbing women by the...
It looks to me...
I still get it.
Looking at the Free Talk Live Facebook page, it looks like the last time they had a live stream, a video at least, was March 4th. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm curious. For me, it's more just a curiosity, like the radio nerd in me is curious. What goes on, but or what doesn't go on.
It's like watching a train wreck. You have to keep looking.
But you wanted to mention this.
What did I want to mention?
The thing with the Adderall.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Seriously, that's going on here in New England, and apparently it is very much here in New Hampshire. People who use Adderall because they want to get high from it, not prescribed by a doctor. There are pills going around all over New Hampshire, and I would assume probably in Massachusetts and elsewhere, that they look like Adderall pills, but they're actually meth. They're methamphetamine.
Yeah.
So just don't. Yeah. If you've got...
That's the thing about street drugs. You don't know what you're getting. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. This is Karen. How are you?
Hey, good, Karen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jenny?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I have a question for the two of you. I was talking with my friend who, unfortunately, when COVID first started a little over a year ago, she caught COVID in the healthcare system, and she, thank God, never had to be intubated, but got very ill with it and is still suffering from the post-COVID illnesses. And we were just talking, and it is her opinion and my opinion that things would have been totally different as far as the response from fellow Americans in wearing masks and doing the right thing if the death rate actually affected younger people instead of older people. And I was just wondering what you thought.
100%. I agree.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's true.
I agree, because a lot of what I noticed is a lot of, well, here's something very specific that I noticed was at one point during the pandemic, maybe 4 months in, there was a point where the death rate began to decline, and it went down just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. The mortality rate dipped. And all of a sudden, I see all these conservatives, some of whom I know, on social media saying, oh, see, the pandemic's over. Trump beat COVID. It's all over. The death rate declined like 1/100%. Oh, pandemic's over. Reopen everything. We're good. We're done. And obviously we know their motivations, right? Because they were all terrified that this whole thing reflected poorly on Trump in some way. So as soon as they saw the tiniest improvement, they were crowing about, oh, pandemic's over. It's all good. But I think you're right, Karen. And it's interesting. I haven't heard anyone say this or speculate on that specifically, but I think you're 100% right, because if it was killing younger people, for a couple of reasons. First, it would be harder for people to say, oh, look, it's no big deal, because for some reason I've noticed, and this disturbs me, it's very easy for conservatives to say, oh, it kills older people, so what's the problem? Like, I mean, they don't literally say that, but that's the attitude. It kills older people, so who cares? They're going to die anyway, right? That seems to be the attitude. Right. But also, too, a lot, younger people would just take it more seriously. You'd probably see a lot fewer of these outbreaks at colleges, because sometimes I worry that we've just raised a generation of sociopaths, because, a lot of young people, they'll talk like they take it seriously, but then they don't. I've complained about it many times, like people's Facebook pages, they'll post something about, hey, mask up, everybody, make sure you're careful. And then you scroll down their feed, and then you'll see all the pictures of the party they went to over the weekend where they're getting drunk with their friends and slobbering all over each other. And it's like, wait a minute, how is this the same person? But it is. So, and you tend to see that in younger people. They'll tell you to take COVID seriously, and then they shamelessly demonstrate to you that they don't take it seriously. So, but yeah, I think you're 100% right, Karen.
I have a darker answer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's two groups. Yes, it's the young folks in that they weren't affected as much in the beginning, and our leadership, stupidly said, it's older people, be careful of them.
Right.
And didn't consider that they maybe didn't know everything about this yet. Yeah. And there was more research that needed to be done. So there's that aspect. But there's also the aspect of all the Republicans that were right there. And, Easter's coming. It'll be gone by Easter. Mm-hmm. That type of thing that went on. And nobody close to Trump, unfortunately, and it sounds bad, I'm going to be dark about it here, nobody around Trump got seriously sick. Nobody got ended up on a ventilator. Nobody got really knocked down. Nobody died there. And Republicans seem to kind of dodge. There were some people that got sick, but not that many. They got vaccines way sooner than other people too. But there wasn't any real prominent Republicans that got deathly ill or deathly ill enough to die, except for the one guy,
Herman Cain.
Nobody cared about him.
Right.
Like, he died from COVID, and nobody was like, whatever, we don't care.
Yeah.
Seriously, if there had been more Republicans, if Trump himself had gotten sick enough to end up on an event, or Mitch McConnell, or one of the bigwigs, or their wife, or something that would have actually jarred the Republicans to go, oh no, this might not be gone by Easter.
Right.
This might be a really big deal. Yeah. It's just, it's like, it's those two groups of people that have extremely. Oh, God. I mean, I really believe that there could be like 250,000 people still alive in this country. I believe the death rate would be half, if not more, if we had if when they first came out, remember, he was so presidential when he first came out, but they got stuck in that whole 2-week thing.
The 15 days to slow the spread.
Once it got to be about a month or so, he got bored. By 2 months, he couldn't stand it anymore.
Yep.
So he declared, it's going to be over now. I'm walking away. And that's not how this works.
It was even declared over on the campaign website, on the Trump 2020 campaign website. It actually listed under accomplishments that Trump had successfully defeated and eradicated COVID-19 from the United States. They actually put that on the website, but the MAGA cult isn't concerned with facts and reality. But
that's true. Taking the politics out of it, do you think that, science is always changing. It was a pandemic. It was something that had never hit before. Do you think that people not understanding the fact that you have to take every day and look at every piece of data to know what's going on, that it wasn't a cohesive information coming out there? Do you think that was more politically bound because it wasn't cohesive?
Well, there's a lot of stories about the Trump administration trying to kind of cook the books as far as what information was coming out. And at one point, they had that guy. I won't even call him a doctor. That guy Scott Atlas, who was trying to sabotage what was downplaying wearing masks and whatnot. But part of the thing is too, like you said, Karen, this is something that we hadn't seen in our lifetimes. And so it was hard, I think, to have a cohesive message because the data was changing a lot. But that's just how science works. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this country who kind of don't really believe in science. And, when the science changes, when the messaging changes, as the science changes, as new data and information is brought in, what some people will do is they'll say, hey, wait a minute, a week ago they were saying this and now they're saying something different. Oh, that means the whole thing is fake and it's all BS. And people do the same thing with climate change. We've seen this for decades now, right? You've got these people who go around, oh, I know climate change is fake because they used to call it global warming. And then they started calling it climate change. And now that they say different things about it, that just proves the whole thing is fake and scientists are stupid and science is stupid and none of it's real. And, I'm being hyperbolic with it, but that's the attitude that people take, right?
I'm going to add to you. I agree with everything you just said, but I'm going to add to that the fact that we as a society, American society, is give it to me now, give it to me yesterday.
Yep.
And in 2 weeks, I don't remember what you gave me 2 weeks ago. You got to give it to me again. We are give it to me now and fast. We want instant food. We want instant coffee. We want our news just as instant. And that's as long as we're willing to play with you. And if I sit down and listen to you for just a moment and you say, like, don't wear this mask, wear this mask. Exactly. They go into the lying or you're lying, that you're conflating it, that you're confusing it. For some reason, Americans stink at STEM, at science, at education, at technology. We stink at understanding real science. We stink at accepting the fact that sometimes the answer is we got it wrong. Sometimes the answer is wrong.
That's the nature of science.
But Americans don't accept that. Americans expect everything American to be perfect. Everything that's American is right. We can't have an official say they're wrong. Not in America. Well, geez, maybe if we did, that would be better. That's one of the things that I actually liked about President Biden when he was campaigning, and he's talked about the crime bill. He said, I was wrong. And that was so powerful to me to hear I was wrong. If we as a society would accept being wrong, if we as a society would accept that sometimes things come with time and education and we don't know the answer now, you're not going to get the instant satisfaction.
Yeah.
It would change how we function.
That's true, and I do have to say I did respect President Biden for saying that he was wrong with something. And also, when Hillary Clinton was running, when she was asked a question during one of the debates, it always impressed me when she said she couldn't give an answer because she'd have to be in the situation. She couldn't tell you how she would respond to it unless it was actually happening, and I respected that.
Yeah, I wish...
It depends on the scenario for me on that one. It depends on what we're asking. What is the hypothetical you're asking? Yeah. Some things you should have an answer for, and other things, I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to congratulate you, Jenny, on your first round of vaccination.
Yeah.
My mother actually had both Pfizers, and I just want to put a little warning out there. The second one, it threw her for a loop just a little. She's 87 years old, but it threw her for a loop just a little bit as far as being like totally exhausted 24 hours after she got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Body at rest is actually fighting a little bit better because the energy is going into that.
But that's...
Yeah, that's what her doctor told me. He goes, well, good, that means it's really starting to kick in, and she'll be doing fine. So
hey, if the second dose makes me a little tired for a day.
You guys have been doing a great job during COVID. I really love the show, listening to it, and I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you,
You're
Karen.
awesome.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear, and we appreciate that very much, and we always love hearing from you.
Well, thanks. You guys have a great day.
All right, Karen, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, a great call from Karen, and that opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can text us at 617-917-4476, tweet us at Matt Connarton, or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com.
Breaking news.
Yes?
Here in New Hampshire, Governor Sununu has announced that New Hampshire may be weeks away from opening up COVID-19 vaccinations to all.
Weeks away?
Weeks away for opening up vaccines to all.
Yeah.
So that would be anybody 16 or older.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing. And, the Moderna one is in second-time trial, phase 2 trials with children right now.
Yeah.
So they're moving forward with that. This is just so much. God, I need this good news. I really do.
Well, we need to hurry up and get there with it, because we're in a race with these variants. One of the variants is expected to, I can't remember which one now, but
the UK one is extraordinarily contagious
and is expected to be the dominant variant soon.
I believe
very soon.
Yes, I believe it is that particular one.
So here's what, not to be negative. I'm trying to be optimistic about it all, but just to be realistic, because it's not all it's not all great news. We've got the variants are taking hold, and we're going to have the inevitable spring break and St. Patrick's Day surge. So we're in a race against those.
I got to say, I was impressed with the number of people I saw on the street yesterday wearing masks here in Manchester.
Yeah.
I saw quite a few.
I mean, then they're all going into bars and getting drunk and slobbering all over each other. So
well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. It seemed like the places were staying reasonable. There were lines. They weren't just letting everybody in.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, we got it. I got the shot on my arm, but I don't have an immunity yet. It's going to take at least 2 weeks for my body to have a reaction from this one.
Yeah.
And then I need the second dose. And 2 weeks after the second dose, then I can be considered fully vaccinated.
Right.
But for now, and even after I become fully vaccinated, until we know for certain who can and cannot be an asymptomatic carrier in any way, shape, or form, we need to wear our masks. We need to be socially distanced. We need to be washing our hands using Purell. We need to practice all those same healthy practices to keep each other safe. We're not quite there yet, but we can see a light.
Yeah, now is not the time to get complacent about it. On the news the other day, I think it was somebody from CNN was, talking to these spring breakers, and aren't you concerned about the pandemic or whatnot? And, these idiots are just like, it's been a year of this. We're just kind of done with it. So whatever. And
it's not done with us.
And yeah, that's the thing. But what is so frustrating to me about that too is we are actually, if we can have just a little bit of discipline for a little bit longer, we actually are close to being done with this. But it's like, I know I keep using this analogy. I've used it so much. People are probably tired of, or this metaphor, people are probably tired of hearing me say it. And it is a little bit violent, but I think it's true. If that's the attitude we're going to take, well, we're just done with it now when we're almost there. It's like the country is a marathon runner. And the runner is about to cross the finish line. The runner's been running this really long, hard race and is finally about to cross the finish line. And right before crossing the finish line, the runner says, I don't think I want to finish the race, and instead pulls a gun out and blows his own head off for no reason.
That's a
but
terrible no.
But that's what I feel like it's like when I see all these idiots who are like, "Oh, we're just done with it. We've been dealing with this for a year and we're sick of it." It's like, well, we're almost finally done. The vaccine rollout's going well. We're almost there. Can you just hang in a little bit longer? No, I'm gonna go. I want to go to spring break and get drunk and do lots of drugs and sleep with everybody. I just don't care. I don't care if I accidentally kill my grandparents when I get home and give everyone around me COVID. It's all about me.
You know they don't say that. They just think they
They think it. No, they don't say it because they don't want to broadcast to the world what D-bags they really are with their selfishness and their narcissism. But that's what goes on in their minds.
This isn't all about the young folks. This is the older people that are being jerks too.
Oh, I know. No, it's across the spectrum.
And even Trump right now is out there going, guys, get vaccinated. Little too late there, buddy, but he's going, guys, get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And that he actually did and all of that. And they're still like, nope, I don't need no vaccine.
Well, if he says it enough, it's going to take...
Do you think it'll matter? Or do you think that
I actually
I'm waiting for them to say that he got, like, pulled into a pod or something, and this is a replacement Trump, and that's why he's saying to get vaccinated.
No, I actually think he needs to, but he needs to do it.
Lizards.
He needs to do it more than once. It's not enough for him to just do it offhandedly in an interview, and then it ends up being big news only because to have Trump actually say it, it's like, oh wow, Trump is actually saying it.
He did it in public like everybody else.
Oh, getting the vaccine, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He could have done that, right?
I'd like to see him do more to really push that message out there because the thing is, I believe it will work.
No. I don't want him to do anything. Every time he tries to touch anything, he makes it worse. He makes it 100 times friggin' worse than it was.
But I do think if he consistently gets out there with that message, I do believe because, I mean, to the MAGA cult, he is their Messiah.
The only message he's ever consistent on is a wall.
I'm just saying, though, he is their Messiah. If he's constantly telling them over and over again, please get the vaccine, please get the vaccine, please get the vaccine, they will do it. Daddy says we have to get the vaccine. I guess we have to get the vaccine. He could say, there's certain things he could say.
I think it's too late.
He needs to say certain things and include certain buzzwords like, it's the patriotic thing to do to get the... Oh, if he says something like that... It's the patriotic thing.
I think he called it American.
But he needs to do it consistently. America. If it's the patriotic thing, actually...
Too little, too late.
Here's what he could do.
No one's going to buy it.
Here's what he could say. He could just come right out and say, please, I will be so proud of all of you. Republicans, I, Donald Trump, will be proud of you.
The little voodoo lady's going to come out and say that he's been taken over by 5G.
If he does that, if he says, I will be so proud of all of you.
It won't make a difference.
No, I think it will. Republicans across the country will be like, wait a minute.
No.
He'll be proud of
They're going to say he's under some kind of influence or he's being forced into saying it. No, they'll never
he's
do it. It's too little, too late.
No.
Too little, too late. He should have.
I disagree.
He had stuck to being presidential when this started.
Well, that would have helped.
If he stayed doing that, we wouldn't have 500,000 plus people dead.
That would have helped.
We wouldn't have the problems we're having with getting people to wear a mask or understanding why social distancing is a good idea. And I got news for you, buddy. I might just keep those practices up for myself. Because now that I've seen how people are around me, y'all are filthy. Y'all are dirty. Need to wash your paws, okay?
Yeah.
Wash your paws. I think I should just live in a bubble and walk around in a bubble.
I'm just saying, he still has power over these people. Any other president, think about it this way. This is really staggering when you really think about it. Any other president who loses, and we don't really have a lot of one-term presidents. Most presidents win a second term statistically, historically.
Last one was Carter, right?
No, George H.W. Bush only served one term. But usually when a president loses at the end of their first term, they kind of go away and their party moves on without them, and they become a part of the past. When Jimmy Carter lost, the Democratic Party didn't actually coalesce around Carter and say, well, he's going to be our candidate. He lost in 80, but he's going to be our candidate again in 84. When George H.W. Bush lost, the Republican Party didn't say, well, he lost, but we think in 4 years he can win again. He is the future, and we still love him. No, everybody moves on. But with Trump, what happens with Trump? He loses the election. He loses the House and the Senate, too. And there's a golden statue of him for people to worship
golden
at,
calf.
at CPAC. I mean, they still love him, and he probably...
Come on, that was the weirdest image, watching a bunch of Republicans pray, Our Father, who art... And there's a freaking golden Trump. Okay, there's a golden Trump, and you're doing your prayers stuff?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
But, I mean, assuming he can stay healthy, and if he stays out of jail, he'll probably be...
He's not going to stay out of jail.
He'll probably be the Republican nominee in 2024. So... he still they love him. It is a cult-like devotion that Ronald Reagan would have been envious of. Remember how much they used to revere Reagan until Trump came along? I mean, it's like 10 times more with Trump.
I know. They named everything after him.
That's why I say, if Trump came out and said, I will be so proud of all of you if you would just get the vaccine, I think almost every Republican in the country who right now is hesitant about it would say, okay, if Trump says I should get it, I'm going to go get it.
He'd have to do a massive campaign. For him just simply saying it isn't enough.
Well, that's what I mean.
He should have gotten his vaccine on camera. She should have gotten her vaccine on camera, or at least him in the very least.
It's got to be it's consistent.
He trash talked everything.
Yeah.
It's just he poisoned the water too much. I don't think that he can necessarily do enough to reverse the damage he did on people not taking this vaccine.
Just a couple Facebook comments. We had to take a break in a moment, but Scott Robinson said, these kids don't care. As a father to a 22-year-old, they all have a hard time with this. My son does not go out to bars now because of the pandemic. He is showing a lot more responsibility. That's good. Good to hear that.
Glad to hear that.
But yeah, Scott, I mean, I'm sure you're a great dad too. Just, the little bit that we know of you, I'm sure you're a great dad. So good for you for instilling that in him. Tom Blanchard says, Trump has trashed China. And now what happened there? A bunch of hate crimes against Asians.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
Seriously.
And by the way, Tom was a Trump supporter, but he's, Tom is.
He may have been a Trump supporter, but he's not a racist. And when you're running around calling something the Kung flu,
right, or the China virus,
you are instilling this negativity, and people buy into that and they act on it. Yeah. You want the evidence? YouTube, Google it. There's some nasty videos. The one that got me was there was an older Asian person who was just innocently walking, and this person slammed them so hard it sent them flailing to the ground. It looked like their head bounced off the pavement. They were, I think, mortally injured. I do believe that person ended up struggling in the hospital.
Yeah,
but it was so violent. I mean, it just out of the blue, walking by someone just because they look Asian, hauls off and does the kind of and just slams somebody like that. It was so violent and full of hate. It literally sent a chill down my spine. I was like, how can anybody be that evil, that cruel to knock you knocking May down like that? I mean, come on.
It's
how
awful.
can you do that? To top it all off, it was an older person. It wasn't just that they were Asian, they were an older person. You do that? I mean, how can you do that?
Yeah.
What happened in the days when you used to help Mamie cross the street?
Yeah.
Now you're trying to kill her for just walking down the sidewalk. It's mind-boggling how people are so ignorant and so stupid that they actually think that because you're a descendant or you're a particular race that you carry something.
Yeah. But but I always say, good for Tom. I give him a lot of credit for waking up and seeing Trump as the malevolent force that he is.
You know what kind of intelligence it is? It's so stupid. These are the same idiots that when we watched the movie The Help, and the black maid was not allowed to use the white restroom.
Yeah.
You got to use your own. And the lady of the house says they can pass diseases. That's the idiocy at the little T thing about why you have to have a separate bathroom. This is the same stupidity and idiocy and just downright moronic behavior.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we do need to take a break, so make sure you stick around for hour number 2 coming up. More Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester. Don't go away.
How many push-ups you want to do here, pal? Oh, come on, man.
Welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM and Comcast 97 in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also streaming, you can go to mattconnerton.com and click Listen Live for your full list of streaming options and all the contact info for the show. Jenny is here as well at the news desk.
I am.
Yes. And if you'd like to give us a call, you can at 603.
Candy.
603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. So there are a myriad of ways that you can get in touch. By the way, so, and I mentioned a little bit about this email that I got from Mike Doyle the other day, but I didn't have a chance to really get into it too much. But he was, emailing about the border crisis and was talking about how, CNN's not talking about it. I see them talking about it on Fox, but CNN isn't talking about it, and it's media bias and this and that. And I have to tell you, every time I turn on CNN when I'm in the car, I don't watch CNN, but I listen to CNN sometimes because we have Sirius XM satellite radio in the car, and CNN is one of the channels I go to for news. And they're actually covering it a lot. So I know Mike thinks that if he happens to turn on CNN and they're not covering it, it's, just that whole liberal media thing. But by the way, I'm not saying there isn't liberal media bias by some outlets, including CNN. I see examples of it. There's also conservative media bias by networks like Fox, for example, and I see that too. But they are covering it quite a bit.
Everybody's covering it.
Yeah.
When I look up look up border crisis, you get a lot of different things coming.
Yeah.
Everywhere. TV, radio, everybody's talking about it.
Right. Yeah.
And I have a different opinion than you on it, too.
Well, why? What did you...
I am not entirely in support of what the president is doing at all.
Well, tell us what you mean.
Well, I don't think now is the time to address do we have an immigration crisis? Yes. Does it need to be addressed? Absolutely. But we also have a COVID pandemic, and Canada still has their border closed.
Yeah.
And so should we. We're not there yet. For my first point here, you can't just. There are things that he's going to do that I agree. Like, we need to put the children back with their families. That should have been done a long time ago.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't take an executive order now to get that done. It's sickening to think that it took that long to get it done. And I know he says that Biden says that the majority of people that are coming over, he's sending back. Well, obviously not, because we wouldn't have the crisis we were having if people weren't getting in. So obviously people are. I don't know why we opened our border now. We need to get COVID under control. Then we can address the border crisis in an appropriate fashion. Creating another problem on top of the problem we already have is in the area, in that region, their hospitals are suffering, their police departments, their fire departments. The amount of stress it's putting on their infrastructure is not one that they can handle.
Tom Blanchard in the chat room says, we need a freaking wall. Well,
not going to work.
Well, we haven't gotten all the Trump out of him now, have we?
No,
And,
seriously, dude, it's not going to work. Go look. There's video of them climbing over it already. I mean, it doesn't work. We should employ more of the systems that we use in Canada. We use a lot more electronics. We do a lot more surveillance that way. Why aren't we employing more technology? Why aren't we using more drones? There are so many other ways to figure out where the weaknesses are to watch. I do want people to come into our country legally, but I do want our borders to be open for those that are seeking asylum from violence, from death. I mean, absolutely.
Well, that's what a lot of this is. It's the kids.
But
you can't turn away the kids. That's the problem.
But yes, you can, because that's how it works, buddy. And I learned this the hard way in EMS because it took forever for my instructor to get it through my head. You're no good if you let the home base go. If you go in there and it's not safe, you're risking the team that's supposed to save everybody else's lives. We cannot afford to open our borders just yet. We shouldn't. I don't care where you're coming from. All right, you're coming from the UK. I don't want you. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Let's get it under control. Let's get the people out of the hospital. That hospitalization becomes extraordinarily rare instead of saying have hundreds or thousands of people in the hospital.
I agree.
Let's do that.
I mean, I'm pretty liberal on immigration. I think anyone who's a regular listener knows that. But I'm not thrilled with people coming into the country during this pandemic. Certainly, it's just that what is a problem, though. And this is an example of what keeps happening is like if you've got a couple of 15-year-old kids who just managed to get all the way here from Guatemala. When they show up at the border, what do you say? You can't come in, die?
No, you say, I'm sorry, I can't take people in right now. Yeah, that's how it works. Because if you
Children?
stop, you're going to, and what are you affecting? Yes,
Well,
I get it. I get that it's children.
Test
Just
them
like
and
I get if
isolate
it's a
them.
pregnant person. But if you have to let that person go to save the other life, then that's what you have to do. We are in the amount of pressure that's going to be put on the infrastructure there is going to create more turmoil and more death than asking them to wait on the other side until we can take them in. Because
well, I do think.
How do I say this without it sounding the wrong way? So let me give you the example I'm used to. In EMS, I get to a scene of an accident. There are 4 people that are injured. I got to take the one that I think I can save the most. If one's pretty much looking dead and the other one looks like I might. They're circling the drain, but they're still with me. But the other one's, I got to take the one that looks like they're circling the drain because that one I have a chance of saving. The other one is too far gone. I want to save the people that are in that area in the sense of their hospitals cannot take the overwhelming thing that happens when you open the border too wide, too fast. They can't take it. The school systems can't take it. The social workers can't. The police, nobody can absorb it. On top of a pandemic, on top of what we're already dealing with. We have got to get this under control in America, and then we can be the country that saves other people again. But not till we save everybody here first. I'm sorry, but I'm going to totally disagree with you on that.
Well, I would have. I would not have changed the policy until the pandemic is over. That's something. That's a criticism I have of the Biden administration. Trump had the remain in Mexico policy, and I do think that there should be, and there may have been, and the administration apparently is not answering the question, there may have been already some sort of overture to the Mexican government to, let's figure this out together. So, but Republicans are trying to play it like, well, Biden's, and I said this yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, it might have been the day before I was talking about this. They're trying to use this as a way to say, well, Biden changed the policy and that's a magnet for people to come. When in reality, we've seen numbers like what we're seeing now. We're seeing numbers like what we're seeing now of migrants and asylum seekers, very much commensurate with what we saw during the Trump administration.
Are you serious?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
it's
we
not
are.
coincidental that it happens at the same time. The reason it's happening right now is because of the policy change.
Correlation is not causation.
No. You serious? Come on.
We've seen numbers like this. We saw numbers like this during the Trump administration.
I'm not saying
during
that.
During the Obama administration, during the George W. Bush administration,
so the spike in
and
numbers
during the
now
Clinton
was caused by
administration.
what? The spike in numbers now was caused by what?
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Republicans will tell you it's caused
not
by
rocket
Biden.
science. You change the policy, then you're going to get more people.
Well, then how do you explain it when it happened under Trump, when we were projecting a
naturally occurring ebb and flow is not a sudden exaggerated spike in numbers, which is what we have now as a direct result of the policy change. But it's not rocket science to see that.
But under Trump, we had what did they keep calling it? The caravan of immigrants or caravan of migrants, or what did they call it? They called it something like that. There's something to make it all sound very scary.
I'm looking at what's going on in the world right now, in the here and now, in this moment. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care if the numbers were close to this or that or the other thing. Bottom line, basics. I look at today, policy has changed, numbers spiked. That doesn't lie. That's just basic facts.
You've actually surprised me a little on this, I have to say.
Because I understood it. It took me a long time to understand it through my training, because I was the one who got the answers wrong because I wanted to save the pregnant lady. You know, I'm thinking that's better because she's pregnant. I got to save 2 lives, right? Well, that's not necessary. Sometimes you have to leave the pregnant lady because she really doesn't have that much of a chance. But the 35-year-old guy sitting behind her does. You know, this is that right now our country is in a crisis, just like the rest of the world. The pandemic is killing people every single day. We have people in the hospitals right now, all across this country, thousands of people struggling to save their own lives. We have got to get it under control here. When you open up that area, the amount of pressure you're putting on all those states right there, on the infrastructure, I remember looking at this years ago, and if you overstress the area, you can actually have hospital closures. That actually happened in Florida, where they had hospital closures because there was such an influx and so much pressure, they collapsed. You can't do that in the middle of a pandemic.
I'm not. I don't think anyone's talking about letting everybody in. But I think if you have unaccompanied minors showing up at the border, I think you isolate them, you test them for COVID, and then the Biden administration needs to solve this and figure this out.
What is so wrong with holding Mexico accountable that these children just traipsed through their country? Why don't they give a care? Why aren't they taking? Then we need to hold them accountable just as much as we'll hold Putin accountable. We need to hold Mexico accountable. It's never going to end if we don't do something different.
Yeah, but I don't want to let an unaccompanied.
They're safe on the other side. They're right there on the border. We're not telling them. Seriously,
you're talking about kids.
I know, and I get that,
It's
and
America.
Kids die, and
we gotta
stinks,
be better.
I get that, but we got to do what's best for us for all of us.
Yeah. I don't know if it's
collapsing
such a
hospital
choice.
in Arizona is not going to help.
I don't know if that's what happens when you take in some unaccompanied minors, but we do have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Can you tolerate another subject change?
I suppose. What's up, Dave Ridley?
All right. Well, we live in interesting times, and this is interesting.
Yeah.
A Free Stater has gone missing.
Free Staters have gone missing?
A Free Stater has gone missing.
Oh, a Free Stater has gone missing. Who?
Yeah, Greg Serby. He was, I think he was a state rep from Nashua.
A sitting state rep? Oh,
well,
former?
I think he's a former state rep, but he was definitely a candidate.
Oh. And he's just disappeared?
Yes. No one's seen him since February 5th. I guess there's been a news article about it.
Oh, okay. Nobody has any ideas?
Well, all I can say, and this is weird because of the FBI stuff that happened yesterday, but in 2008, he asked me to take a walk with him and told me something in private. He said that if anything ever happened to him, I should tell him that I should tell the world that the FBI was investigating him, and they were. Apparently, they interviewed him in around 2008. Nothing ever happened to him around then, and the whole matter was just kind of forgotten. But now he actually has disappeared.
Huh. He told you that in 2008. That's wild. Huh. Okay.
Well, the FBI does not disappear people, to my knowledge. So I think that's kind of unlikely. But he was worried for his safety, and he was worried about the FBI. So the thing was, they wanted to interrogate him about Free Staters and what we were up to. and they used he had a security clearance at the time, and they used that as leverage on him to make him talk to them.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. It sounds like a tangled web.
Pardon?
Oh, I just said interesting. It sounds like a tangled web. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the crisis of yesterday, the one that's happening today, I've posted on ShireSociety.com on the forum there, and I'm just posting details there as I get them.
Okay. All right. Well, he's been missing for over a month, so that's not a great sign. He said February 7th?
Correct. I know his ex-girlfriend who reported him missing, Linda Lagana. She was a prominent Ron Paul activist. So was he, actually, back in the 07 era.
Yeah.
And she said that or according to the news article that quoted her, she just went to the house in Nashua, and I guess she had sent him some messages and he wasn't responding, so she went by the house and found the mail overflowing. His car was still in the garage, and it didn't look right, and she informed the police.
Huh. What about his family? Does he have any family in the area?
I don't know much about that. I think also she did say something to the effect that he was really upset with the way things were in the world. And I think the term off-grid came up a time or two as a hope that he maybe just went off-grid on purpose or something. But to not tell anyone is strange. That is.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right.
There's a lot more going on, and if you'll tolerate it, I'll call in about it over the coming week or two.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Dave. Thanks for the call. Give the Ridley Report a plug if you'd like.
RidleyReport.com just shut down by YouTube.
No kidding. Why?
That's the other thing that's going on. It's sort of shut down. I mean, I'm muzzled, I guess is the right word. I'm not allowed to upload.
There's a lot of that going around. Wow. Do you know why?
Yeah. They said spam, but it wasn't spam.
Huh. Interesting.
It was my interview with somebody, and they,
very interesting. Well, all right. Well, good luck with that. I assume you're appealing it.
I've appealed. Actually, I've appealed the previous strikes. I haven't appealed the last two yet. You're just appealing to a robot.
Well, yeah, but I think if you keep doing it, eventually it gets to a real person is what happens. That's my impression. I mean, I haven't dealt with it directly, but I've talked to a lot of people who have, and I think what happens is eventually a real person looks at it. Yeah. But it's frustrating.
Lech Wales's people beat the Soviet Union in Poland by making newspapers with onion skins and pens.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that, Dave.
But we're definitely pushing in that direction.
All right, Dave. Well, thank you for the call.
You're welcome for the call.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Boy, there's a lot of that going around, people being deplatformed.
I know. No, but I do want to say something before people get the wrong idea, because I suppose I might be coming off kind of harsh. Listen, I'm a mom. I want to save every baby. I would love to save them all. But if I only have enough food for 5 and I take 15, what happens? It's only so much to go around. And we have got to get this pandemic under control, and then we can reopen our border. Then we can bring in more asylum. But right now, we have to keep our borders closed just like every other nation. Why aren't we yelling at Canada? I mean, seriously.
Well, we don't have unaccompanied minors trying to escape the United States to get into Canada.
I really want to understand why there are so many. That bothers me in and of itself. Why are there so many unaccompanied? Where did these children come from?
Right.
Were there? Did they have shitty parents who
we can't say that.
Oh God, Matt, I'm gonna have to write it 5 times or 500 times not to do that.
Yeah.
You have really bad parents that whatever, leave them, abandon them or whatever. I get that maybe they end up in foster homes, but how do you have so many? Why do they have so many children without parents?
Yeah.
What's wrong with people? How do you walk away from your baby? How do you do that?
Well, I think.
How do you do that and call yourself a Christian?
Well, part of it is, we hear about these, they call them coyotes, these people who I'm not sure exactly how it works. Well, part of it is, I mean, there's a human trafficking element to some of it, and these coyotes are involved. But I think some of it too is just, you know, if you're in a place like Guatemala, for example, and you're in a really tough situation, and trying to, you know, I'm not a parent, but trying to kind of empathize with what some parents may go through. If you're in such dire straits that you believe that your child, maybe 15, 16 years old, is old enough to successfully make the trip without getting killed on the way, but young enough to still have a shot at a better life, you know, maybe you tell them, go try to get to America.
But the problem we're having isn't just children.
No, I know, but I'm talking about...
We can't just concentrate. It's about the children. It's not just about children. There are a lot of adults down there, too. When you say you're going to have a border policy change in the middle of a pandemic, where we get people in America that are food starved.
Well, that was a mistake.
Food poor.
I agree with you about that.
Which is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be there for children. I'm saying that right now we can't be there for anybody else.
I think we
just can't.
I think we can be there for children.
We don't have our own under control.
I don't think America...
We don't. When you have hours and hours, not hours, when you have miles and miles of cars lined up to get food, brand new cars, some of them, because nobody's got any money there. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We can't put those kind of... We already have a medical system that's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There are medical providers that may not be medical providers when this is all over because they can't handle what is done to them.
Agreed.
You can't do this in the middle of a pandemic. This is a political issue. It's been done for political reasons, and it shouldn't have been. We need to deal with them appropriately, but right now the pandemic needs to be number one, top priority on our nation's list.
But you can have number one and still have number two, number three, number four, et cetera.
No, you don't. No, you can't, because if you don't get enough to give out,
that's the
by
point
the
of
time
having,
you get to number four, what are you giving them? Crumbs?
That's the point of having a number one.
You let everybody in and you gave them some crumbs. Whoopee.
I don't want to let everybody in, but I want to let the kids in. They're children.
You want to do it's you, and you're doing the liberal tactic. It's for the children.
It is. It literally is. It's not a tactic.
Not killing children.
It literally is for the children.
We're just keeping them on one side of the border until we can do the right things to bring them in.
100%. If that makes me sound like a liberal, fine.
It's not.
It literally is.
It's not about just children. The problem we're having at the border is bigger than that. When you muddle it down to just children, you're really not doing. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing.
I'm just saying let the kids in. That's I'm a compromise.
It's a compromise for what? Because when you let that in, if you've only got enough for 5, you give it to 10. Who's getting the crumbs? They are. You didn't do them any favors. You didn't do them any favors at all if you don't got what you need. And we don't have what we need. We don't have an overabundance of medical people that are down there working on the border. We don't have enough medical people. We could have more vaccines going out if we had more vaccinators. We're not there.
I agree.
It's all well and good, and it sounds lovely on the surface. But the reality is, if you've only got so much pie to give out, what good is it if you're giving somebody some piddling little crumbs? Oh, you're on my side of the border, but we can't do anything good. Can't take care of you. Or throw you in a cage. Which is where they are. Because that's better, right?
We can spare some.
That's better, right?
We can spare some crumbs for the 15-year-old who just crossed the Rio Grande by himself.
I want to spare crumbs for every one of them. But if there's 1,000 of them, how do I do that if I can only feed 10?
We are, as Michael Albert points out, the richest nation in the world.
Don't be pie in the sky. Be realistic. What is really down there? What is it really like for the people on the front lines doing this? What is really going on with border control, with the hospitals, with the police, with the fire departments? How stretched out are there? How many resources are stretched out too far? How many kids aren't getting a meal because it's gone too far? We have got to take care of where we are right now, and then we can do more. And we want to do more, but we can't. You can't lose 50 trying to save 10. If you can save the 10, save the 10.
Well, but I don't understand something, though. We're letting people in right now, and we're making all this progress with the vaccine and on the pandemic.
I don't agree with it at all.
So
I don't think we should be letting people in right now. Canada's not doing that. They're only letting in somebody if you are a foreign national or if you are a dual citizen, that you have, if you have a passport there, you have family there. That's the only way you're getting in. You can't just cross the border. Mexico's not, I don't think that Mexico's letting many in right now either, but I may be wrong about that. But you go anywhere over in Europe, every nation has its borders closed.
Yeah.
Because of the pandemic. Why do we have to be moronic, open everything up, and then we can't take care of anybody?
Well, speaking of opening everything up, I mean, people are able to go out to bars and during a pandemic, but we can't let some kids into the country who are in danger?
Do you hear me agree with any of this stuff?
I'm just saying.
Seriously, I want to let every child in.
Yeah.
Where do you put them? We're putting them in cages right now. That's no good. We're not giving them something better. Well,
no, we are. Because eventually they're going to get out of the cages. They want to be safe. Can you imagine what it must be like to be a 14-year-old who just,
I don't know what the situation is, and I can't even begin to fathom, but I do know that in other cultures, things are different.
Yeah. Well, we'll begin to wrap up because the weekly Die-On is coming up next live at 6 p.m. Of course, hosted by Ben Die-On and Daryl Die-On. And actually, the song that I want to, we were talking a couple minutes ago about people getting kicked off of YouTube and deplatformed. So, and I know I've probably played this one more than any other song parody.
Oh, no.
But I love it so much. I still love it. I still watch it every few days. And it's comedian Philip Markle and his What's Q got to do with it. But this actually so he never got fully deplatformed, but I remember when he first released this video, it was available for a few days, and then the video itself got blocked. He never got blocked. But the video itself got taken down, and I commented on his Instagram on a post about the video. I said, for some reason, YouTube removed it, and he said, yeah, we're appealing it. And that's why I said to Dave, I said, you might get a bot when you initially appeal it, but you keep appealing it until you finally get to a real person who can look at it. So presumably because it has Q in the name, that's why YouTube, a bot probably blocked it. And then, a human probably looked at it and said, oh, this is a parody making fun of QAnon.
Jeez, I hope that's not the reason.
So
Q from Star Trek would get pulled off.
That's true. Yes.
I don't want that.
No, that is true. So we'll close with this, but the weekly Die-On is coming up next year at WMNH, right here on 95.3 FM, and no entertainment report this week. Sorry, everybody. Easy G, if you're listening.
Better.
We hope you're feeling better. And, I see Scott Perry in the chat room from Courtesy Call. He's got episode 10 will be coming out this Sunday, so we look forward to that. And Mike Pelopita from Queen City Cabinetry says, have a great night, everyone. And on that note, we will wrap up. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at mattconnerton.com. And other than that, we'll talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.